talk about the biggest non-strategy in software delivery, just try harder. I'm sure you've heard it, maybe you've even said it, like when bugs escape and releases break, and the CTO is running around doing instant management instead of, CTO things. And then when the fire's out, the retro says, devs, just try harder not to write bugs. And testers, just try harder to catch the bugs that the devs are just trying harder not to write. And then we get more approvals, more checklists, more friction. And here's the thing, just try harder isn't a strategy. It's a sign of a broken system, a system that makes it easier to fail. And why do we even care about bugs anyway? They don't just break features, they break flow, they shake trust, they kill momentum. So let's stop blaming people and let's start fixing the system. I want to take a look at how bugs slip through the net. And the researchers said the same thing for decades. In 1981, Boeing found that the earlier you catch a bug, the easier it was, the cheaper it was to fix. And then if you fast forward to today, Dora found that speed and stability go hand in hand, that fast feedback led to better outcomes. Build small, ship often, avoid bugs, fix fast. And more approvals, that led to worse quality. And here's how I like to think about it. Overhead goes up, more approvals, more checklists, more friction. Then batch sizes goes up. If it takes an hour to ship, you ship once a day, and if it takes a day to ship, you ship once a week. So then complexity goes up. A week's worth of changes is way more complex than a day's worth. And then we've created a hiding place for bugs. Bugs slip through unnoticed, and then edge cases, they slip through in the volume. So that's the theory. Here's how it shaped out in our healthtech platform. We had a test suite that took over 30 minutes to run. And what did the team do? They avoided running it. They batched up their changes, they pushed them all at once, and then they crossed them fingers and hoped. And then when the pipeline failed, they'd do quick and dirty fixes just to make it pass. So what happened? Bugs slipped through. But context was lost, and stress levels were through the roof. We ended up debugging code from days ago, and we were asking, what on earth was I even working on? So that delayed feedback led to bigger batch sizes led to increased complexity, and that increased complexity pushed our risk way up. So we needed a reset. We set a new rule. Get feedback in the time it takes to make a cup of tea. Not a Netflix episode, not a lunch break, just a cup of tea. So we set out to make it real. We set some targets. We wanted feedback locally in under a minute and feedback from the pipeline in under 5. So for local runs, we looked at all the slow-running tests. We prioritized the ones that mattered, and then we turned off all the rest. And then we turned to the pipeline and that 5-minute target. We optimized everything we could. There's no booting up the framework. There's no connecting to databases. We weren't hunting for anything that was slowing us down. And the results, we were hitting our targets. But we were also getting faster feedback. We were pushing smaller changes, and we were making cleaner commits. We're also saving 20 hours per developer per month. Well, we weren't actually saving it, but we were getting 20 hours of free building and testing by going from building once a day, maybe, to building multiple times a day. But even with fast feedback, our legacy system made every change feel risky. Fast feedback had helped, but it didn't shake the fear of touching our legacy system. Even a small change had a big blast radius. You'd change something over here, and it would cause chaos in 5 other places. And it was a full-time job to firefight and triage all the bugs that our customers and our staff were reporting. Up until now, every time there was a catastrophe, a new checklist item appeared on a list, or a new process was put in place. And it reminded me of something I heard in university. You can't inspect a 4th leg onto a 3-legged table. Now, I imagined a room full of table inspectors, and they're working in a table factory. They're wearing white coats, and they've got clipboards with checklists. And they're looking at this 3-legged table, and it should have 4 legs. And there was nothing they could do about it. So we took a different approach. We followed the strangler fig pattern. We set about replacing the old system one chunk at a time, and replacing it with small independent services. They had good automated tests. They had a fast pipeline, and all from day one. That smaller scope led to safer releases, and fewer approvals led to faster flow. We could release on demand. And that gave us confidence in the new, but the legacy was still holding us back. We were deploying the new services multiple times a day, but the old service, the old legacy, that still took 2 weeks if we were lucky. So every time a sprint was finished, we'd be a mad scramble. We'd be...
If you're enjoying this, Lead Dev's got loads more to offer.
I have written some blog posts for the website in the past. I know the recordings from all the conferences are up there. You should definitely check it out.
Lead Dev can offer you a variety of things, from blogs, webinars, panels, Slack community which is super supportive.
So make sure you check out leaddev.com.
Cherry-picking fixes would be extracting late failures, and all at last minute, then we'd cross our fingers and hope and ship it out. So we shifted our mindset. We moved towards a trunk-based development approach. We set out to always keep a releasable version of the system at all times. We automated the pipeline, and we stopped manually building releases. And the result? The business started to trust us, and the firefighting went down. Remember that duty engineer that was triaging and firefighting bugs? They had time to focus on fixes and features rather than putting out fires. We went from deploying every 2 weeks, maybe, to deploying in 2 days, if we needed to. And more approval, that wasn't the answer, because we know that leads to worse quality. So now we could ship often. Next step was to ship without fear. Shipping fast was great, but we still need to ship safely, because no matter how good your automated tests are, production is always your final test. It's real users, it's real data, it's real load, it's real edge cases that you didn't come across in testing. We're about to launch a new service that was sending out sensitive health information, lab results, heart measurements, appointment reminders. And mistakes in this context aren't just embarrassing. They carried regulatory risk and the risk of real-world harm. So we decided to use a three-pronged strategy. Monitoring will tell you when something's gone wrong. Observability, that tells you why it's gone wrong. And feature flags, that allows you to control the blast radius. We didn't just build alarms, we built safety nets. So here's how we turned production into a low-risk learning environment. First, we dark launched the service. We used feature flags to run the new service in parallel with the old. The same input, the same output, both running side to side. But it was all hidden from our users. Next, we added monitoring and observability. We were tracking delivery rates. We were tracking delays. We were tracking down discrepancies between the old and the new. And finally, we started out with a safe set of customers. It was our staff who also used the product. And then we rolled out gradually as our confidence grew. We delivered safely and we delivered confidently. When you're working in a high-stakes environment, fast delivery isn't enough. You need controlled delivery. You need less stress. You need less risk. You need nowhere left for bugs to hide. So we went from firefighting and fear to feedback and flow. And not by pushing people harder, but by shaping the system that we're working in. Because just try harder doesn't work. It doesn't fix broken systems. But the data tells us what does work. Build small, ship often, avoid bugs, fix fast. And that's why these three strategies matter. Faster feedback, make it cheaper to find bugs. Smaller, safer delivery, make it easier to ship changes. Control delivery, make production a safe space to learn from. And when your system works, overhead goes down, batch sizes shrink, systems get simpler, and bugs have no place to hide. And this isn't a developer thing or just a tester thing. Scrum masters, product owners, engineering managers, the whole organization shapes the system. Better software isn't about trying harder. It's about shaping a system that helps you succeed. So let's build better software. Let's go beyond just try harder. Thank you.